Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater that spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us to use WW7ATS repeater, which is 147.08, and it has a tone of 103.5 for our voice transmissions. So I'll pause momentarily in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact before we get fully underway. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. Hearing none, again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. So far checked in via video link is Ron, KD7QKU, Bert, N7CS, Richard, K7ITX, Jim, N7QO and Living Color, and myself, Dave, KD7ZYM. Is anybody else that would like to check in? Well, nice warm evening in this Puget Sound area tonight. So let's start off with Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Dave. KD7ZYM in the group. This is KD7QKU. Well, today on my thermometer out in the front yard, hanging under a tree in the shade, it said it was 87 degrees out there. And I turned on the air conditioner here in the house to cool it down for bedtime and close the doors. It was over 80 on the patio most of the night. The patio's on the northeast corner of the house. It's under the house roof, but it's a little patio, wood deck. So it was pretty pleasant out there all afternoon. We had a little north breeze and it blows in there. It's real nice. So let's see. For Bert, I guess I didn't know I had surgery again, Bert. So it's carpal tunnel surgery. And what they do is they make a little incision right here in your hand, and then they go up in here and they cut the tendon right there to release the pressure on the that go to the fingers. So this one has been done. My fingertips are still numb, and so this one over here, my fingertips are numb, but it's definitely better. My right hand was always my worst hand anyway, and but so at night they would go numb and then they would burn. They'd get so numb that they would burn. I'd have to get up, and sometimes I'd put ice on them, sit in the recliner. But anyway, so hopefully I won't have to do anything like that again. So it was done on Wednesday, and the first day after surgery, it hurt. The other one, I never taken anything, not even Tylenol for my left one, but my right one, I taken some Tylenol on Thursday and sat around with my hand laying on a pillow. And then I got up the next morning and it felt really good. It's been good ever since. So, taken a week last time before I've taken the bandage off and looked at it. Put some, medication on it, but it looks good. Last time I'd taken about a week and it was healed enough I didn't need a bandage. Okay, that's it for now. Back to that, KD7QKU.
QKU, let's go on to Bert in Marysville, N7CS.
Good evening, everyone. I've missed the past couple of reps, so glad to be back and seeing all you guys. Let's see what's going on. Well, Ron, I hope your arm there or your hand is feeling okay after the surgery. And let's see, I did a walk in the heat earlier today. I think it was like 86, 87 degrees according to the thermometer when I went out there, and I guess watching this documentary. I guess it was about who actually created Batman, like the original comic and all the characters involved in it. And I guess for the longest time, the creator was always known as Bob Kane. But apparently he really co-created it with another individual called Bill Finger, but Bill never had any credit for it until just like about what had to happen with Bill's heirs to get the co-creator credit for that. After, I don't know, it must have been like 50+ years before he finally got the credit. But that was a pretty interesting documentary. But anyway, it's probably it for now. This is Bert and Reginald in 7PS. Back to that.
CS, thanks for that. Your audio level is a little scratchy. I don't know why that is tonight, but it's fully understandable. So let's move on down to Richard, K7ITX in Kent.
Everybody. Yeah, Bert, I noticed that maybe the last couple times you were on in that it's almost like you're just off frequency a tad. I don't know. Or maybe your Yagi just got the wind blew in a certain direction. You're just not your normal self. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, we can understand everything you said. So anyway, let's see. Going on, maybe if you could you got such a good location there, you would be able to, as soon as you get squared away, be able to switch the repeater so we can turn Grandstream on. Right now we can't. There's no one to turn Grandstream on. James in Bellevue couldn't do it and waited around, and so you're right now our last hope. Because I know I can't reach the repeater at Cougar Mountain. I've tried it to turn it off and on, and Gary, I think, when he's in business, could do it. But anyway, that's just, we'll get Wade on your to-do list for you. But the only other comment, the only big event for me was I paid K7ITY her first visit yesterday. I thought she wouldn't recognize me. Boy, was I wrong. She knew me right away, and kind of didn't really read me the riot act, but it was pretty. She expressed concern that she's there all the time now. But the cool thing about it is she understands why. Understands why she's there and isn't home, and it's safer for her to be at the Northridge Memory Center, and that it's dangerous for her to be home by herself. So she understood that. She remembered me. She was really, really happy. Took me on a tour. To say the least, I was pretty happy when I left, and I'm sure she was too, but now I gotta go back, obviously, and maybe I might have to go back a little bit sooner than I realized. So anyway, that's all I got for right now. KD7ZYM, K7ITX, back to net control.
ITX, thanks for that. Well, let's go to Covington to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Ron, carpal tunnel. Yeah, I was thinking about you. Sorry you got some pain on this one. Hope that's not any sort of indication of things to come. I hope everything turns out good after another day or two. Sometimes your body experiences trauma and reacts to that in an undesirable fashion for a little while anyway. My wife's recent shoulder surgery certainly came out like that. whole lot better now. Bert, walk in the heat today. Oh my goodness, yeah, my wife was going to go for a walk while I was busy doing some stuff around the house here, and she went outside and came back in about a minute and said, I think I'll use the treadmill today. So, oh well. And also Batman, as a youth, I read a whole bunch of Batman magazines. Man, I couldn't tell you who came up with that. I just don't remember things like I used to. And what's distressing is every now and then I'll remember something, and then sometime a little ways after that I'll think, well, that's not the way it was. It's like, I don't know, something's happening with my memory. And as far as K7ITY goes, well, I don't know, Dick. My mom, the last 2 years or so, she didn't know who I was. But you know what? She knew my name. And then I come to find out she's thinking of her nephew. So it's like, whoa. That was kind of a shocker. But reset. So I don't know. Frequently people lose their mobility or something, and they have physical problems, and their mind is good. I know other people who physically were really good, but their mind went. And I don't know. It seems so far to me it looks like both things are going on me. I don't know. Oh well. Oh yeah, and also I don't have anything on the 1.2 gigahertz downlink tonight. Sort of a little pet peeve of mine. We should not require a repeater operator to work this thing, but we have a rather complex system here. It works for us, but it's a little bit, let me say, peculiar. Oh well, we're making do with or without. It's good to see all of you. At least, fortunately, I have access to a computer tonight, so I could see you even though I have nothing on the 1.2 gigahertz. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
Time for an ID again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Well, I'm coming to you from the upstairs sauna in my residence in Lake City. I've got 85 degrees in the shack. I'm warm, believe it or not, for the first time in a few days, so the heat's a little bit nice. I got out to mow my yard at noon today. I figured it'd be just about right, and when I stepped outside, it was already 75 degrees, so I got the backyard mode and the parking strip mode, and at that point I was just saying, wow. It was like 85 degrees, so I curtailed that action and went inside where it was cooler inside the house. And let's see, what else is there? Oh, being a nice warm day, my furnace wasn't running. I decided to open it up and I'm going to clean the filters out, but they were in fine shape, so anyway, put them back in after checking them out. So the furnace is good for another season, or at least another 6 months of operation, and I don't think it'll be running in the next few months for some reason. So come fall, it'll be there for me. And that's about what's happening here in Lake City. This is Dave, KD7CYM. So let's go back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, thank you very much, Dave. This is KD7QKU again. Well, let's see. I went over to the control frequency and I was unable to do anything. So when I set up my 1.2 I tried to control it from here, and I didn't seem to be able to. So I had to call James, and James turned it on for me. But then later on, I was able to transmit, and I can transmit, of course, and that'll turn on the repeater, and it, will transmit your signal back. So I can do that with my 1.2. But I can't seem to control it tonight. So I don't know if it's the position of the antenna up there or what it is, but Wade, he's a little bit higher than I am. I don't know. But I have a really good ground plane 70 centimeter 440 antenna to use, but it didn't seem to want to do it. And let's see, I turned on the sprinkler system over there. There's a nice sprinkler system at this house. I guess it's a Rainbird control box is in the garage. It even has this sensor outside so that if it rains, it'll shut the sprinkler system off, and it won't run on days that it's raining if you weren't home and you were gone. So I had a little brown spot in the front yard. It was pretty amazing. Just 3 or 4 days of no rain and warm weather, and I started to get a brown spot. So I taken the garden hose and put a nozzle on it, and I wet that down a few times. Then I decided, what the heck, the flowers and everything look pretty dry. I turned the sprinkler system on, so it's been on 2 days, I think. And first time it was set to come on at 6:45. I got up and looked, and everything was dry. I thought, don't tell me it doesn't work. But then, about that time, it came on. So then I went out and looked at the timer, and it was set to come on at 6:45. So I moved it up to about 4 o'clock, so it comes on at 4 o'clock in the morning. So let's see, what else is going on? Not too much. My wife, of course, has been busy. Her friend, passed away, and she's the executor of the estate, so she's been really busy on that. She's trying to get a bank account open, an estate bank account, so she can start paying the bills. So you have to go through a lawyer and a judge, and all these papers have to get taken care of it. So she's got the okay now, but she has to get some kind of a number from the IRS, and she's having difficulty getting it. Every time she fills out the form, it tells her there's something wrong, and she can't figure out what it is, and then after you try 2 or 3 times, it tells you can't try anymore today. So I don't know. She was awful frustrated the other day. All right, back to that KD7QKU. Oh, and Bert, I just wondered if maybe you were on the wrong tone. Could you possibly been on the wrong tone for the repeater? 14708. I don't know. Back to that KD7QKU.
And let's go to Bert in Marysville, N7CS.
Well, thanks, Dave and Richard, for the signal report from earlier. I'm on a different radio than I usually use for the past month, so that may have something to do with it as well. I believe I am, Ron, on the 103 PL tone system, so I think I should be on the right one that we've been talking about lately. I did turn my power up a little. I don't know if that helps or not, though. That's about the only thing I can do on this radio without taking a computer and hooking up to it and reprogramming it. But I'm pretty sure the frequency is right and the PL tone is right, but this other radio is also connected to a different antenna that's about 5 feet lower than my other antenna, so there's a lot of variables that have changed, so anything could be doing it. Hopefully I'll have my other radio hooked back up in a while, but even with the other radio, with the PL tone change, it's for that different mountain, so I don't know if my path is as good to Cougar as it may have been to Tiger, so could be that too. I mean, it could be a number of things. Hard to really check without just pulling one variable at a time and trying to figure out what's going on, but hopefully at least, it sounds like at least I'm audible for the most part, even
said, come and get me from this motel. You know, and that's funny because I told her, you know, when I saw her yesterday, I said, you know, I talked to you Wednesday night. Of course, she couldn't remember that at all. And I go, did you, you know, when you called me and I was talking to you, you thought, I told her that she thought that she was in a motel, and she thought that was the funniest thing she ever heard of yesterday. She couldn't believe it, that she thought she was in a motel, and I go, yep, and you know, I explained to her that I told her that this is her new apartment, and so anyway, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, but I'm convinced it's your new radio and antenna situation, because even when you went 103.5, I'm sure, you know, 2 or 3 months ago when we were doing the testing with your regular setup, you just sounded normal as ever. So I'm going to guess that it's the new radio and the antenna, or I don't know, I shouldn't call it new, just the other radio and the antenna. Because, yeah, I mean, we all know you can walk one step, half a step backwards, and all of a sudden no one can hear you. You know, it's weird. It's weird how it goes. So, anyway, I'm home alone this weekend while I was in Seattle taking care of the daughter's cats. I don't know if I'm ever going to get my regular voice back. I was reading that this drug that I take, this inhaler, 20 or 30% of the people get a hoarse voice. Now, eventually it goes away in 2 or 3 weeks, so we'll find out, I guess. And it is normal in the morning when I first get up, but as time goes on, and so I don't know, it's kind of a pain in the neck if you want to know the truth, but it's probably just as well. I've always been a loudmouth to begin with, and this might help take care of that problem that I've had all my life. So with that, KD7ZYM, K7ITX, back to net control.
Get another ID here. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. I'll take a break in case anybody wants to check into the net. And again, this is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. So let's go to Jim in Covington, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, yeah, Bert, I think it is just a little bit different with that maybe different antenna location, maybe trying to hit cougar rather than tiger as well. I did briefly, Dick, during your transmission for just a couple of seconds, 5 seconds maybe, I heard some sort of distortion, almost just like what we hear with Bert, but it went away very quickly. So there may be something else going on out there that we're not aware of. Don't know about that. Dave, in a sauna. Yeah, right now my shack is really comfortable. I've got 72 degrees in the shack. Outside, I'm now showing 83 degrees here. There was one time during the day that I showed 98 degrees on my outside air temperature sensor. It's in the shade. It shouldn't have gotten anywhere close to that warm, I don't think, but at least if you look at what the weather people were predicting. But it did, and I believe it. So I don't know. The next 2 days I think are supposed to be warmer still. I do know that typically when they say a high temperature, my city is maybe 4 or 5 degrees warmer than what they predict for Seattle. And Ron, sprinkler with a rain sensor. That sounds pretty cool. Wow. I don't know how many times I've driven by businesses and I've seen the sprinklers going and it's raining outside. But I guess they just added on to the price of my hamburger or something, you know. Oh well. I think that's cool anyway. K7ZYM and 7QO.
7QO. And again, this is Dave in Lake City. Well, with this warm weather, I came to the conclusion when I was going to take the filters out of my furnace and clean them out that I needed cold water on the hose. And then I noticed, you know, it's been so warm, I didn't have my outside hoses hooked up to the bib, so I did that this afternoon, and so now I have hoses that actually pass water. So that probably now that it's going to dry up, we'll have to see how that goes for the rest of the summer. But I understand we got some rain coming next week. And let's see, I was thinking about Bert with that sound. Possibility, a new radio, it's set up on narrow band instead of wide is one possibility. So I don't know. There's always a mouse trap somewhere that has a switch that's flipped one way or another. But completely readable. It's just a little noisy on it. That's about all. So it's a good signal. And this is Dave, KD7ZYM in Warm Lake City. So let's go back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Ron, KD7QKU. Well, when you were talking about your furnaces and looking at your filters and everything, it made me think you probably should have added air conditioning to that furnace. And you could have a nice air conditioner running in the house now. So, let's see. Talk about air conditioning. I had our Jeep Cherokee, you know, it's a 2019. We bought it new, 2019, and a month ago or so, it was blowing warm air out of the air conditioner. It was a hot day, and it's got climate control, and I set it down to, 65, and it wouldn't blow any cold air. So I'd taken it over and had them look at it. It has a, extended warranty on it, so the bill was $1,500 to fix it, and I had to pay the deductible. Well, guess what? Yesterday or something, I was driving it, blowing out warm air again. It's not blowing out cold air. So I called them, and I have an appointment to take it back over. So I don't know if there's any warranty on it or not, but I'd like it to blow out cold air, so we'll see what happens. So let's see. Last night we went over to my brother-in-law's. We hadn't been over there for a while because his son-in-law, they were having a get-together, on Father's Day that evening. Everybody was coming over for hamburgers, and then they called hastily and said, don't come, because Matt had just tested positive for COVID. He wasn't feeling good, and so I guess somebody had a test, so they tested him, and he was positive. So he'd gone into, I think I told this story, he worked at the IRS in Seattle, and he's worked at home for almost 2 years, and they wanted him to come back, so he went back to the office for 2 days. So he either got it in the office or riding the commute train, he thinks, to the office. So he lives here in Tacoma, so he was homesick. So we were over last night for the first time in quite a while. And the other daughter, they have 3 kids, and they had just bought some, new skidoos, personal watercraft and a trailer. They have big cabin up on a lake in Canada, Shuswap Lake, way up. And there's 3 families on his side that have cabins up there. And so they decided it'd be fun to have those up there. So they had 5 hours on them. They were used, but they only had 5 hours. They were just barely broken in. And I think he saved quite a bit of money compared to new ones. I don't think they're very old, but they look like new. But that's what they were doing. For a of course, he has his own Kona coffee business. She's an airline stewardess, so they pretty much can get whatever time they want off. So the kids are out of school, so they're going to go up there, probably stay up there 2 or 3 weeks and enjoy the lake up there in Canada. So anyway, sounds like fun to me. They've invited us up, but I don't know if we'll ever go. It's a long way, 8-hour drive. It doesn't sound too exciting. So back to that KD7QKU.
QKU ID time again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. So let's go to Bert, N7CS.
Okay, well, I have switched back to my original radio. Okay, I'm getting a lot of good thumbs up there, so it must be something with the other alternate radio I have configured. I'll have to kind of figure out, have to do some troubleshooting there to figure out what it is. Dave's suggestion about narrowband might be interesting because I don't think I checked that setting in particular when I programmed it last time. So it's possible I may have just overrode a channel that had been programmed with narrowband before it didn't go to change that. So don't know if that's it, but I'll have to check that. Speaking of COVID, my mom sent me a text a couple days ago. It sounds like her and her current husband down in Texas both got COVID 3 days ago. They had one booster, but for whatever reason, it sounds like they didn't have the second booster. I don't quite know why. They would have been eligible for it. So, and my mom said they gave her some kind of like medicine to try to help with it. It seems to be working. They weren't able to give it to her husband though because he's on some other kind of medication that conflicts with whatever the COVID medicine is if you get it. But so he's not doing all that great, it sounds like. But hopefully he's able to pull through that all right. But anyway, glad to see this other radio is working good. I have to do some troubleshooting on the other one. Anyway, this is Bert and Marshall and 7CS. Back to that.
Report perfect. Sounds great. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
The worst thing about it is, I tested it this afternoon and it worked just fine. I thought I did. I figured out the problem with the repeating my call sign over and over. There was a switch that in settings that was turned on that said remote PTT. Well, okay, remote push to talk. Well, no, it's not remote push to talk, and so that's probably why I kept repeating. I kept looking for the remote push to talk that really didn't have, and so I turned that off, and then I transmitted to hear myself, talk to myself. Oh my goodness! So it's something different this time. So I'll try one last time. Because this is very frustrating. ITX timeout. That didn't sound right either, so okay, here's Echolink.
phone or something. But I'm not going to give up because I'm going to be out of town again, and kind of like, so, Covington Jim and Bert, yeah, we pulled off a last minute, last Sunday at 5 o'clock, the Sunday feature with our Porsche. We took first overall down in Portland. It was crazy. It was a 30-minute race, and so that was worked to our advantage. They're bigger and faster cars. In that 30-minute period, while they were ahead of us, and the lead changed 4 times, which we were never in the lead until the bitter end when the big cars, well, one car crashed and the other car broke. And there we were. And I was just shocked. I thought, oh my God, we're in first. And we're going to, well, you always hate to, it's kind of like a pitcher having, when he's about to get a no-hitter, you never like to, count your chickens before they're hatched, because I swear to God, it always works against you. So we were pretty quiet about it until we finally pulled it off. And so, God, and the other good news, what was the deal? Oh, I was so bummed out. I think when I talked to, at least when you were on the radio, Jim, we were so bummed out because we were sure that the new engine that we just put in it broke and had another cracked cylinder. But no, it's fine, or at least the engine's fine. We couldn't find anything wrong, no leaks. We tested it completely. So for this coming weekend at Pacific Raceway, the 510 is going to be ready to go. Unfortunately, we're in a testing mode because we still are not positive what was wrong before, but it was maybe an air bubble in the cooling system. Not exactly sure, but that's our best bet. If there's nothing wrong with the engine, we're thinking maybe the head gasket could have had a leak. It was a brand new head gasket, and maybe it just needed to be torqued down a little bit more. So anyway, that's the excitement for me, and it's going to be hopefully dry this weekend, Mr. Man. K7ITX back to net control.
ITX, thanks for that. Let's go to Jim in 7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, let's see. Bert, COVID booster. I am guessing that one of the reasons a whole lot of people are only getting a single injection is because they may be experiencing a reaction of some sort. I know that's what happened to me, but I was not smart enough to accept that it was a reaction to the vaccine, or I was trying to explain it away. I was trying to say, well, I slept funny, or I did a little too much work in the yard the other day, or something. Like 3 or 4 days after my first injection, I had some problems, but it wasn't really bad. And then, so a month later, or whenever the appropriate time interval was, seems like about a month, I had the second injection, and 3 or 4 days after that, oh my God, I really thought that I was having some serious problem. It's a shame that I was not smart enough to understand that earlier I was experiencing a reaction to the vaccine, because if I had, I would not have got that second injection. And then, so they're telling me that I am not supposed to get any mRNA vaccine again. And by the way, the pharmacist at the Rite Aid closest to me said that she experienced injection as I did, except she used the other mRNA vaccine. I did Pfizer, she did Moderna, and she had a similar reaction to me. So anyway, I got boosted with the Johnson & Johnson, and of course at that time they had no thought that there was going to be a second booster, a fourth injection. So now the CDC says that a second booster with Johnson & Johnson is not authorized. So I'm stuck. But I think it's people are probably having a reaction to the first injection. That's my guess. KD7ZYM and 7QO.
7QO, my gosh. Well, is it is or is it isn't? It's one of those things. Well, we wish you well, and hopefully you'll be immune to this doggone virus come this fall. They're talking about another vaccine coming out this fall that encompasses some of the newer varieties of this COVID thing, so we'll have to see how that goes. Well, ID time again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM, and I've kind of run out of steam. Of course, there's a lot of steam in this room. I'm showing 85 degrees now inside. It's getting kind of moist, I might say, in certain places. So, anyway, I'll push it back to Ron, KD7QKU. This is Dave, KD7ZYM.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. KD7QKU here. Well, I have a little fan running. I have my shorts on. I'm almost cold. It's about 75 degrees here. I thought about turning the fan off. The air conditioner's brought the temperature down in the house pretty good. So it's nice. I have a portable air conditioner in the bedroom, and then we have a in-the-wall air conditioner out in the living room, so the two of them together. Last year, when it was real hot, I let the one in the living room run 24/7 for about a month, and it kept the house pretty darn cool. It was real nice. So this time we have the booster in the bedroom helping out. I put it on medium. The one out in the living room, I think I put on high because it was pretty warm out there. We have one of those little glass tubes that have the little balls that float in it, and they were all at the bottom. I'd never seen that before, so it was over 80 degrees in the living room, I think, when I turned the air conditioner on. So it was pretty warm out there. So let's see, we got a new sliding glass door, and we got a new living room insulated window. We had an insulated window in the living room when we bought the house. They had replaced two windows with insulated windows in. The one in the living room was pretty big, and the seal was broke, and it had moisture on the inside. So all winter, we didn't know that, of course, when we bought the house, until winter came. So all winter and spring, we had to look through the steam in the window, and so we decided to have it replaced. I guess maybe the window company would have came and put a new glass in it, but I think it was a crummy window anyway, so who knows who it was and where it came from. So I just had a new one put in. So we can sit in the living room now and look out the window, and it's beautiful, clear window. So that's nice. So let's see, that's about it over here, really. Don't have any big plans. If my wife wasn't so busy, I would have suggested that we pack a picnic lunch and go down to the beach someplace with the lawn chairs and watch the people go board around, but I don't know, with the COVID, I'm kind of wondering. So I was talking to a neighbor, his name is Steve, and he walks around. I asked him if you could see the fireworks from our house. He doesn't think so, but he said he would invite it. He goes to a friend farther up in Tacoma on the bluff that overlooks Commencement Bay, and he said that he could get us an invitation up there, but he said there'd probably be about 20 people there. Well, I didn't want to go be in a house or something with 20 strangers, so I thanked him and said, I guess we'll stay home or watch it on TV. But I'm thinking that, so that there's a little district that's east of us. It's called Proctor. It's kind of They have a little different markets and stuff where they have organic food and stuff. It's kind of a nice little area. Nice restaurants, some vegan or whatever you call it, restaurants and stuff. But I think that's just about right straight south of where the fireworks are going to be. I was looking on the map and there's a big church down there, and I'm wondering if we couldn't go over there, park maybe in the church parking lot, get out our lawn chairs and see the fireworks. I mean, I'm just thinking we'd just be right where they at. They'd just be down on the water. We'd be up on the bluff. But I haven't driven over there to see what the parking lot looks like. Maybe they don't even have a parking lot. I don't know. But I think I want to check that out. So I guess that's it. So back to that, KD7QKU. Maybe Richard has some thought on that. KD7QKU.
QKU, thanks for that. Let's go to Bert, M7CS in Marysville.
Okay, let's see, I think I'm running out of things to talk about, but here's maybe a question for everybody. So, on the back of our house, out in the backyard, we have, I mean, I don't know what you call it, the water spout, spigot, faucet, that you're supposed to, like, you know, plug your hose into. Well, my wife tried to turn it on the other day, and nothing happens. We, like, can twist the knob all the way on, nothing comes out at all. I don't really remember the last time we ever tried using it, if we ever tried using it, so I'm not actually sure if it ever works, even though we've lived in this house for 11 years now. I don't think we ever tried it before, but it was just, I don't know, anybody have any ideas on that? My wife's best guess is maybe some insects somehow crawled up in there and clogged it all up, but I would think that water would be fairly high enough pressure to, like, gush all that stuff out, so don't have any idea about that as to why it doesn't come on when we twist the knob. But anyway, that's all I have for now, so just that question. This is Bert and Rachel in 7CS, back to that.
CS, thanks for that. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
Well, I got two on my plate right now, one with Ron and one with Bert. Let me start with Bert first, since Ron's getting up. So Bert, God, the only thing I can think is there's a shut-off valve, you know, before you get to that particular faucet. That somewhere there's another valve somewhere that you, but God, you've lived there 11 years. I would have thought you would have, I don't know, I mean, I have a shut-off valve for the whole house that's in the garage. You know, it's between the main service that comes up my driveway and the rest of it, but it's in the garage, and I use that frequently, like when I'm going out of town, to just make sure if any leak develops in the house or out on my property, that it won't do anything, just because the water's basically turned off. But I mean, I'm sure you would know if you had anything like that. Wow, that is quite the mystery. No, it's not any bugs, and so the only other thing is if there's no valve between that faucet and the service, then it's not hooked up. It's just not hooked up, and that seems pretty weird. God dang it. I would love to get under your house. Hopefully it's not on a slab like mine is. Haywire, with respect to the ground floor, I'm really screwed, just because it's all in concrete. You know, I mean, I'll be cutting concrete to figure out my problems. So. And then let's see, Ron, it's funny that you should ask. Just yesterday I was driving I drove up, I wanted to drive through Ruston to Pearl from the 705 freeway, and I'll be darned, but I didn't, there's that weird Ruston overpass thing, and if you don't take that, it'll put you on 30th. Okay, well, alright, 30th is fine. I don't need to go to Ruston. I'll just take 30th all the way to Pearl. But it brought me across Proctor, 30th and Proctor. being as close to the bluff as you're thinking it is. And yeah, so you know, you got to get close to 30th and Proctor, and I don't know. Yeah, it's too bad you don't have any friends over there. Growing up, my dad had a ham radio friend that lived right on the bluff there. As little kids, we just loved going there for the 4th of July for obvious reasons. Fantastic view. So, but if you can get up on your roof, that might work. I don't know. That's something my dad, ITX Senior, would always, that's something he would do, is he'd always like to get up on the roof to check things out. Speaking of checking things out, Bert, I've seen on the internet, and I don't know if you ever do, but there's always some scam on YouTube regarding the Webb telescope, and the latest one is that it's been struck by some space object, and it's now endangered. Well, okay, so there's a certain level of truth. I never watched the YouTube video because I knew it was just a joke, but there is some truth to the fact that it did get hit by some kind of cosmic debris.
K7ATS disconnected.
Goodbye, ITX. Anyway, so that really, I looked into it, and yes, it did get hit, but it's supposed to get hit. It will get hit. It will get hit multiple times, and that's why they built the mirrors so that when one gets damaged, they can adjust the other mirrors or adjust it, and they have the software that will kind of eliminate the blind spot that's created by the damage. So anyway, I guess I was relieved to read that NASA had already thought about things hitting it in space, and that they generally have pretty good answers for what's coming up, and that I shouldn't believe everything I see on the internet. So okay, I won't. So I don't even know what time it is. KD7ZYM, K7ITX, back to net control.
TX, let's go to Jim in 7QO.
N7QO, I assume you're calling me, Dave? N7QO. Okay, so I'm trying to find a hose bib. I have a container of pipe fittings, and I have it, which I just broke. It was kind of rusted shut. And then I have another container where I think there are half a dozen or so hose bibs sitting in there, but I can't quite get it open yet. I need more muscle here. So, question with the hose bibs, yeah, probably the obvious thing is there's more than likely a shutoff valve somewhere in line. It's not uncommon that people would, particularly in colder climates, turn off the supply line that goes to your hose bib if it's going to be cold outside to prevent it from freezing. I would not have expected them to do that in this part of the country, but it's almost like what else could it be? And I was going to dig out this hose bib. Does it seem to be working okay when you open the valve? The valve stem should actually get longer. So if it's not getting longer, then there's probably something messed up within the valve itself, and you could actually rebuild that. You could take it apart, but you got to turn the water off first. Just a
a warning. But if it seems to be doing that okay, yeah, I would not expect there to be insects that could do that, but it wouldn't be, I guess it might be prudent to run a screwdriver or something in the hose bib and see if you can break anything loose, or see if there's anything in there with a flashlight or something. I don't know. But it's unless there's something seriously messed up there, maybe they added that just for show or something. You never know with these houses nowadays. You should hear the problems that Bob, K9PQ, had with the plumbing at his place. Holy cow. So anyway, that's the only words of wisdom I've got. Reset. And let's see. Ron, good job with the air conditioning last year. It seems to me, if I'm not mistaken, we had a couple of 100-degree days last year. So that's really good that it was that effective. That can be a lifesaver. And I don't know, trying to see fireworks. You know, I've had this for several decades. I've had this thought that what I should do is build like a turret that is next to the house, so I could climb up there and maybe have a little picnic table up there, and just, it would be cool if it could be above the treetops and I could look all around. And I don't know, I think, Ron, you can maybe build a turret kind of like what Wade has or something. But the probably number one is to figure out where they're going to be doing fireworks displays before you do anything. I would bet that this year there's probably going to be a number of places that would normally do fireworks displays, but they will be canceled, probably because it's still awfully dry out there. Just my thought. So check out where the displays are going to be, and then see how likely it is for you to see them. Good luck with that. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, thanks for joining the nets and everybody else on the net this evening. Time to pull the plug on the net this evening. We'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7ATS repeater, known as the 08 machine, 147.08 with a tone of 103.5 for carrying our voice transmissions during our video nets held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, terminating the net. Good evening all.